koutou, called Tracy Scott, aho. I am the Learning and Development Manager at Life Education, the new Joe, as I've been saying to people, and nice to see some new faces on our educators there tonight. Thank you so much for making it. But hey, a big welcome to our crew and new friends at Barnardos, and thank you for joining us tonight and bringing together the organisations. So let's have some intros from the Barnardos team. I think we've got Lorna and Leslie and Deepinder all on tonight. Would that be right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm here.
Great. Want to start, Leslie? Quick intros and then we'll see who's around the motto for us.
Sure, okay. Kia ora everybody, I'm Leslie Butler. I've worked for WhatsUp for 20 years. That's ever since we started. I started off as a counsellor, and up until a few weeks ago, I'd been the team leader for 8 years. I'm now in a role of senior advisor, and so yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking about the service. It's obviously one of my passions, and it's great to see you all here. Thank you.
Fantastic. Lorna, shall we go to you next?
Sure. Kia ora, ko Lorna aho. I'm the relationship manager at Barnardos. So I work in Central Wellington, just down the road from Tracy and Michelle. And yeah, so I guess my role is just bringing us together as two organisations, and really excited to be here and to be able to share a little bit of information about us as an organisation and learn more about you guys and get your insights, because I think you'll have a lot to share with us. And so, Deepinder, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Deepinder. I'm the marketing manager at Barnardos. I've been with Barnardos for a little more than a year now. I recently moved to Auckland. I was based in Wellington Central before that. So just 3 weeks ago, I moved to Auckland. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here and see what we can bring out of this collaboration. Really excited. Yeah.
Thanks, Deepinder, and thanks to Lorna for, I guess, being the brains behind the initial contact. I guess tonight is all about potential, really, to see, to learn more about, particularly about the 0800 WhatsUpp service, but also the potential for the organisations to become closer and to share expertise, share networks, share learnings, share resources, all that sort of thing. So we're not intending to go for a full hour tonight because no one wants to go through till 5:30 on a chilly, almost wintry evening. So we'll aim to have about a 10-15 minute slot from Leslie first, then we'll open it up to our life education educators to contribute any connections or alignment or queries that they might have with the work that they do in the Healthy Herald mobile classrooms. And I'll be capturing any questions that come up in the chat, in the Zoom chat there, and there may be a need to come back to the group, as well as we'll load up the recording for our crew that couldn't make it tonight. But if we've got time, I would love to go from the top of the motu, top of Aotearoa, down to the bottom. So the crew there at Barnardos have just got a sense of who's on our call and where they work. So who would be our furthest north tonight? Michelle, you might need to help me here. Who of our educators is from the upper north island?
That would be Cindy.
Hey, Cindy.
She's Rodney.
Sorry, I can't work my video today.
That's okay. There's a voice from the far north. Who's down below you, Cindy? Who's coming down? We come down the country.
Probably next would be Jenny and Charlie.
Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
So we're at North Shore. Hi.
Next down. Is this hard to do with
Nikki,
about
probably.
12 people?
Kia ora, I'm Nikki. I'm in Hamilton, but Waipa King Country, and this is Shebby, who's used to cuddles right now.
Beautiful.
And growling.
It'll keep nice to see you.
And
moving on down.
Hi, actually, I'm off.
Yep.
Hi, Sylvia.
Yeah, sorry. Hi, so I'm in Central Auckland. Yeah, my name's Sylvia. Nice to see you all.
And I'm going to jump in next because I'm also in Central Auckland.
And carrying on down the North Island, any other Norths? We had a good contingent from the South then. Who have we got at the top of the South? Oh, Michelle, of course, Michelle with me. Well, different houses today, but thanks, Michelle.
So it could be me now, Genevieve from Marlborough.
And any Cantabs, West Coasts?
Oh, head to Nelson.
Just saying, Ingrid, you must be. Yeah, Ingrid, you're muted.
Just trying to unmute. Sorry. Yeah, Ingrid from Nelson. Yeah. Tasman region.
This is of everyone's skills, how quickly they can get that camera on and unmute themselves.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Head to the West
And then
Coast.
was it down to Maria? Oh.
Kia ora, I'm Kelly. I'm on the West Coast.
Hey, Kelly. Maria.
Maria, I do Dunedin and North Otago.
And is that the bottom of the country for today?
No, Pitt.
And me, Pip, I'm Heartland, so I'm Otago, Southland and Central Otago. So, but I'm home as Lawrence, so it's very cold here, there's snow on the hills.
You'll be getting good frost, Pip.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Good for those fruit trees, though, we know.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thanks all for
country.
joining us.
Have to head one more head up back to the country. Megan's making it challenging by putting her name as Life Ed. So. Megan's here as well. There we go.
What was that, Michelle?
Megan's other name is Life Ed. So if you're looking at
Kia ora, I'm Megan. Yeah. AKA Life Ed. Megan.
Nice. Thanks, Megan. Good to see you. Right. Thanks, everyone. Shall we hand over to you now, Leslie?
Yes, or are you going first, Lorna?
I will go first. I'm controlling the PowerPoint that we're sharing, so I am just going to share my screen.
And while Lorna's doing that, I must say that you're a good representation of the regions that our callers and chatters come from, actually, up and down the country.
Hey, that's worked. Well done, tech people there at Barnardos.
Okay, good. Now I just need to be able to see it myself, which will be helpful too. Okay, so
yes, and I'd like to reduce it on my side, actually.
Is it too big for you? Or you might need to play around with the gallery display on how it's showing on your screen, Leslie.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't mind not seeing ourselves anymore because we see plenty of ourselves and every day.
Oh, that looks better. Okay, cool.
Okay, so hopefully you can just see the slide and not all my notes that I've got on the side. Thank you for having us here this evening. So to tell you a little bit about Barnardos, I mean, lots of people have heard about Barnardos, don't really know what we do. So Barnardos has been working in New Zealand for over 60 years and we work right across the Motu, and we do a really broad range of things. We do a lot of child and family services, which is what WhatsUp falls under, but we also do the education and we do advocacy. So we lobby the government on the rights of children. So yeah, there's a lot more to our work than, I mean, I've been with the organisation 2 years and I'm still learning about different programs that we do. So our vision is an Aotearoa where every child shines bright, and that's what we always come back to. So yeah, everything that we do is for children and the rights of children, and through our advocacy, obviously we're trying to shape laws and policies to meet the needs of children. And this, I've included this service continuum. Now, can you actually, oh, you should be able to see that okay, hopefully. It's quite big. I thought this was interesting because it kind of, this is just our child and family services, but it kind of demonstrates the breadth of the work that we do in that space. So we provide social support services to the most vulnerable children and their whānau in our communities. And those people that we work with are often affected by complex intergenerational challenges such as poverty, family violence, addiction, neglect and abuse, and mental health issues. So we work quite closely with government agencies. We have a lot of partnerships with government agencies, suppliers and corporate partners across Aotearoa to deliver our services. So even our government contracts are not always fully funded. So we are very reliant on our partners to help us.
Just a quick little point. I'm sorry to interrupt, Lorna. Have others got sort of a split screen going on?
Is that it? I fixed it?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Sorry.
Love it.
And I'm just going to move you guys over to the other side so I can see my notes. And yeah, so the service continuum, I think, captures the breadth of the work that we do. And you can see that is down in our sort of prevention space, and it plays a key role in that prevention space, because it's the one place that we have where we can really capture the voice of children and young people when they call us, and we really get to understand the issues that they're facing. And much like Life Education Trust, where you're inspiring children and tamariki to make positive choices, we're there to respond to them when they call and ask us for help. Okay, so Leslie, I'm going to pass it over to you, and I'll try and keep up with your
okay
as you talk.
That's cool. Okay. All right. So since service launched in 2001, counsellors have answered 1.6 million calls and over 10,000 chats. Children and young people are encouraged to call no matter how big or small they think that their problem may be. And even if they do not view it as being serious enough, because we want to get to them before their issues are serious. So in this way, 0800 WhatsUp employs an early intervention response to children and young people's mental health. We find that many of our callers are trusting an adult with their problems for the very first time. And Lorna, oh, good on you, Lorna. Okay, so WhatsUp's, whoopsie daisy. WhatsUp's approach to counselling is to empower children and young people to make their own choices by guiding them through a constructive thought and decision-making process rather than instructing them on what to do. We're free. All our counsellors are paid. And we're available for children from the ages of 5 to 19 years. That's nationwide. And our telephone counselling line is open 7 days a week from 11 in the morning until 11 p.m. That includes Christmas Day. We used to be open when we first started from 12 noon to 12 midnight, but we've had some years where our opening hours changed. And when we went to extend our hours again at the end of last year, we had a look at our stats and we decided that we had more people trying to contact us, young people trying to contact us between 11 and 12 than in the morning, than we did 11 till midnight. So that's why we chose to open at 11 o'clock. Also, because of the age of our children, we don't want to encourage them to be ringing us when maybe they should be in bed. All calls and chats are answered by trained counsellors, and the only helpline in New Zealand that works with young children as young as 5 of age. Tamariki and rangatiha can call 4 times and can ask for the same counsellor each time they call. We provide additional outbound calling support to children who have serious family harm. So that is with one of our other services. The social workers can contact WhatsUp and let us know about a young person who we're working with whose family is experiencing family violence. We get the parents' permission for us to then go out and contact that young person for a certain number of calls. And on those calls, we are able to check their safety and build up rapport. And at the end of those sort of 5 calls, or however many calls we are contracted to make, that young person has then got a really good understanding of what WhatsUp does. They hopefully have a developed a trusting rapport with their counsellor, and then they're free to ring us until they turn 19, basically. And those calls from that point onwards would be confidential unless they are at risk. So, yeah, regular callers and chatters. So regular callers and chatters can present with complex and ongoing issues, and they indicate a strong need for ongoing and regular support. So our regulars, a regular is a young person who has called us 6 or more times with a theme which is quite complex. At that point, we are able to allocate a counsellor to them with their agreement. We contract them with a counsellor for about 3 months. So if at the end of 3 months they feel that they can't work with that counsellor, then they're able to go back and talk about that, and maybe we can change that counsellor. We put boundaries around our callers. If they're calling us a lot, so as we try not to allow them to become too dependent on us. And yeah, some of our callers will have a regular counsellor for up to 5 or 6 years. In that time, their regular might change. It might be because the counsellor has left WhatsUp, or because the young person feels that they're not making the progress that they want. And that's okay. It just shows them that actually there's more than one adult that they can actually have a rapport with. Yeah.
I see that as a real strength, actually, Leslie.
Yeah, it is. So the way that we work with some of these young people are that, so a client displaying obsessive compulsive traits has firm boundaries around their calling pattern, and because a young person can ring and their counsellor might not be there, but another counsellor might be picking up the call, we pretty quickly get to recognise their voices. And for somebody that's really obsessive about the service, we have a standard script that every counsellor will say to that young person, and they'll let them go, always inviting them to ring back when their counsellor's back on. And then clients with avoidant personality traits, we give them plenty of space, plenty of positive reinforcements, and acknowledgement of strengths displayed during their contact. So for our regular callers, and any caller for that matter, we don't hurry them. I mean, even a young person that's ringing us and is just silent on the phone, we will sit there and encourage them to talk. Not a lot of pressure, but just sit there quietly. And sometimes we've found that young people will try and communicate with us by maybe making a noise, just to keep us on the call a little bit longer. These are how we deal with young people on calls. On chats, it's a little bit different because, of course, we can't hear what's going on. So our regular callers will often present with ongoing mental health, suicidality and self-harm. And last year, we contacted the police more than 10 times over the year for one client in particular. And our refusal to normalise that client's risk and to not see that the behaviour as normal has forced agencies working directly with this client in particular to add further support and protection for them. 16 of our clients contacted us and described their situation as high risk of harm multiple times. And most of these clients will go on to develop a trusting relationship with a WhatsUp counsellor. Yeah, and actually you'll probably be quite interested to know that in the last year we called other services for an 8-year-old, for 10-year-olds, 8 12-year-olds and 13 11-year-olds. No, sorry, 11, 13-year-olds, that is. And those are, that's contacting the police because they're ringing us with suicidal thoughts.
And that was in the last year, did you say, Leslie?
Yeah, that's in the last year.
Yeah.
So, so our average call length is 6 minutes. That might not seem very long, but actually it is quite a long time for a young person to be talking on a phone, and you can actually cover quite a bit of ground in 6 minutes. Whereas with our online chat, our average chat will be 30 minutes. So there's quite a big difference in the resources used, depending on which way they choose to contact us. So we have something that's called soft calls, and that's when children and young people contact the service just to talk about general everyday things with no real theme. We also have another theme that we called connecting calls, and these are when children and young people contact the service to test out our counsellors' responses and to test out the themes that they're presenting. So these might be serious themes, but the presentation of the young person doesn't match the seriousness in the background. And there might be children in the background making suggestions as to what to say next. And these are really important calls for us. We actually consider these to be our most serious calls or our most difficult calls, because a young person that's ringing and asking for help is a lot easier to know what to do with that young person, as opposed to some young people who are ringing and calling the service and presenting in that sort of way. Because we really need to be able to engage with them quite quickly, and we want them to know that they can actually ring and talk to us about anything, and also that it doesn't have to be a crisis call, because that's not what we are. We're not a crisis line. And so we really want young people to realise quite quickly that we're here to listen to them. So both soft and connecting calls are treated with respect, kindness. Our counsellors are really curious as to why they might be presenting in that way, or the topics that they are presenting. And we recognise that the importance of these first connections with our callers and chatters is right up there, because if they get a bad response from us, they're not going to ring us back. We've noticed some barriers to access for the 5 to 13-year age group. So what we've noticed is that school phones are not available as readily as they used to be. There's a reduction in landlines at home, and we might all think that we're really a lot better connected these days, but for a lot of our young people, we're actually not, because that landline has gone. We receive calls from public payphones, which is interesting. A lot of people don't even realise that we have public payphones anymore, but we do up and down the country. We've also noticed that there's a restriction of use of mobiles in classrooms and school setting to reduce risk of bullying. When for the first 8 to 10 years of WhatsApp, we used to get a lot of primary school and intermediate kids ringing us between 12 and 1:30. And this was when they would be ringing and talking to us about feeling isolated or bullied, or for young people that were just feeling really lonely. It was really good for them to be able to, it might help them to feel good about themselves, being able to talk to somebody on the phone. And also, kids used to share their phones with others that didn't have them. So we've really noticed a reduction in our calls from that particular group of young people. And we'd really love to know from all of you as to whether or not you've experienced this in the school setting, that some children are more isolated now.
Good question. Did anyone want to jump in and share their observation of that question? So are children more isolated now than perhaps they might have been previously, I guess due to COVID, due to simply the way they're reliant on devices, texting rather than talking. Yeah, any views on that, team?
And it's okay if you haven't got any views on that at the moment. I mean, we can talk about that at the end, but I just sort of wondered if maybe anybody did have a thought.
Yeah, I was talking with
Pip.
kids today. Oh, sorry, I've jumped on in. Sorry about the background. There's just, I've got my granddaughter. But yeah, we're talking about it with kids today, and they definitely feel it. The school I'm at still got lots and lots of kids away being isolated with COVID, and then they're feeling kind of lost and lonely because their friends aren't there at school, and they feel a bit lost and don't know what to do, and all these thoughts and feelings start to come into their heads and things. So it's definitely something that's quite prevalent at the moment, I think, in some of our schools,
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't actually thought about that, but you know that there's still a lot of young people that aren't in school. So yeah, yeah.
And
really
Pip's made the comment, less ability to access phones. You know, many, or if not most schools are actually banning phones from the classroom now.
Yeah, and that has really impacted on the like I said, on the age group that we're talking about this afternoon. Their ability to contact WhatsApp, for example, or anybody else. But in saying that, you know, we do have situations where teachers and principals have facilitated calls for the children in their schools, have let young people go and use their the principal's office to give us a ring, for example. Yeah, so we recognise that this is an area that we need to actually have more communication with the principals of schools, just because I don't think that they're necessarily aware of the impact of no phones in schools has on some of the young people. Yeah. So yes, I did touch on web chat a moment ago, saying it was 30 minutes per chat. So, and also our chats so we have significantly more duty of care or serious presentations come through on our chat than we do necessarily on our phone calls. And we've also seen a continued growth and preference for web chat over telephone counselling in the last 2 years. And it's a little bit more private, you know. A young person can be on online chat in the back of the car while mum's driving. They don't have to talk. So they do feel that it's quite, you know, it's a little bit more private for them, I guess. And maybe even at school, you know, the fact that they can't use their phones to ring, maybe some of the older intermediate or high school age young people are actually connecting with us on online chat as opposed to so as they don't have to talk, basically. Yeah. So some themes for 2021 for 5 to 13-year-olds. Obviously, we have statistics right up to the age of 19, but these are for the 5 to 13-year-olds. So we capture data on all the calls and the chats that we have, and we in our case management system, which is called Penelope. We're able to filter this report by age, and this graph indicates our experience of working with primary intermediate age tamariki. So the two primary reasons for contact are emotional and psychological and relationships. And this pattern matches what we see in our rangatahi too. There has been a noticeable increase in emotional and psychological calls and chats since the COVID pandemic. And you've indicated, I think, that you've also experienced the same. Is that right? Your teachers with life education?
I was just going to ask, actually, I think those are two areas that are cropping up a lot in our schools, but would educators like to comment on that? got lawnmower man in the background. You see, I'll just mute myself again.
Yeah. So these two graphs, they demonstrate the additional information that we capture regarding each call and chat. And so the theme of emotional and psychological themes covers a broad range of issues, including anger, grief and loss, loneliness, deliberate self-harm, mental health. And that includes anxiety and depression and suicide. And the theme relationships, this includes issues relating to peer relationships, partners, families, and whānau, parenting, care issues, and other relationships important to children and young people. So the size of the coloured box represents the number of calls and chats that related to the issue from 5 to 13-year-olds during 2021. And we can give you more detail, we can give you more data at the end of this. I can send it through if that's what you're particularly interested in. So, so the other thing that we can do is instead of just having one theme, which is the presenting theme, we also have the ability to record up to 2 more themes discussed in that call or chat. And it gives us a really good insight into what might be sitting behind what the young person is actually talking to us about. So the graph captures the complexity of a single issue and the range of topics that are also discussed. And in this example, it shows what else was going on for Tamariki, aged between 5 and 13 years, who contacted 0800 WhatsUp regarding mental health. So the larger the box, the more often these and other issues and themes were mentioned in a counselling session regarding mental health. And it clearly demonstrates the strong interconnection between relationships and mental health. So yeah, it's really interesting. And I love the way that that's presented. This is a fairly new thing for us that our IT person, Una, has created, and it's made it really easy to pull out our data, I must say.
That's great. I love it. It's good to be able to see at a glance what those topical issues are. And you've answered some questions perfectly that are coming into the chat. So thanks very much, Leslie.
Oh, thank you, because actually I'm not seeing those questions.
That's okay. You focus on what you're doing.
All right, yep. That's awesome. Okay, so duty of care calls. So that's when young people ring us and they're at imminent risk or harm. So we have risk calls, which our counsellors are often able to de-escalate, and a young person is okay to not take it any further, or we might just say at the end of the call, hey, look, we'd really like you to ring us back tomorrow to let us know how you are. But then there are some calls where we do feel that we need to intervene by calling other agencies. So what happens in those situations is that the supervisor makes that call to the other agency, so as the counsellor is able to focus on that young person that they've got on the end of the line or on the chat, so they can reassure them, they can monitor their symptoms to see if they're getting, to make sure that they're not getting any well, their condition isn't deteriorating, and to just support them. And what we find sometimes is that even after we have brought another agency in to help that young person, they actually still want to keep us on the line so as we can just check that they are feeling okay about what's going on for them at the time. So and so in 2021, the number of duty of cares, which was the number of times that we actually rang in either the police, ambulance, or rang a tamariki, was 127 times. And that was for, but that was for all the calls that we had, not just the 5 to 13-year-old. So I talked
on this one already, Leslie.
Yeah, I did touch on this about the family violence outbound calling service, so I won't go over that. Yes, so at the end of 2020, we were contacted by Lifeline to ask if we would take over Kids Line for them. Because Kids Line was once a peer-to-peer counselling service, and they just felt that through COVID, that what they'd noticed was that the young people who were answering the calls, they weren't able to do that, and also if a call with a young person was a duty of care, they would then have to move the young person onto an adult, one of the Lifeline counsellors, who they felt weren't child-centred or weren't trained up in how to be child-centred. And so they felt that WhatsUp really would be a good organisation for Kids Line to become a part of. So yeah, we were really pleased to have given that opportunity. And we did that for 14 months. Our counsellors answered 2 calls, 2 different lines, Kids Line and WhatsUp, but they were always talking to the same counsellors. So at the end of March, maybe even February of this year, I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure which one it was, we decided to let Kids Line drop, and we would then just redirect those young people to WhatsUpp. So yeah, so Kids Line doesn't operate anymore, and but we've been really lucky because we actually had the benefit of the Kids Line buddies for a year, helping with advocacy. And this is just a little message that we received from one of our clients, just saying, you know, how much she benefited from talking to us. So yeah, we don't always get feedback from our clients. They tend to move from one issue to another one quite quickly, and all their lives just sort of move on. And so when we do get feedback like this, yeah, we really feel uplifted by it and want to share.
Oh, thank you, Leslie. What a valuable and remarkable service you offer, particularly when I hear those numbers of times that you've intervened on that duty of care alone. And then when you think about the number of young people, particularly the age group we're dealing with, who don't get to the phone even. So yeah, this is such important work. And the questions have come in thick and fast here, but I'm just wondering, is it a good use of time? I don't know if Lorna or someone else from Barnardos can answer any of those questions in the chat, in the Zoom chat. And if we could hand over to any of our educators to talk about, I'm thinking about the connections and the alignment between our 2 organisations with the work that we each do in our respective spaces. Because I guess the point of this bringing together of the 2 organisations is to think beyond this meeting tonight, discussion, how can we bring together our work in a real way? So for example, we're educators of the mobile classrooms. What would that look like if we were referencing 0800 WhatsUpp, for example, as a place to go for young people, perhaps for the right age group, and obviously if we're doing the right topics. But I'm just interested to know if any educators have got ideas on how they could include the work of Barnardos. Megan.
I put the posters up on my classroom doors, and often when I'm teaching not necessarily the younger ones, but definitely always make a point of telling the year 5s and older that they can phone 0800 WhatsUp, and they're a free confidential counselling service. Some of those details that were just shared. And like the other day when I was teaching puberty, I gave the teachers some information so that they could put them up on a year 7, 8 notice board, so that, you know, they can go to them in their own time. And I used to have little business cards, but I've run out of them now, so it'd be really cool to get some and hand those to the teachers to display them in their classrooms too. So yeah, I often refer to them and say it's free, it's confidential, and they're trained counsellors specifically for young people. And just like their tagline is no problems too big or too small, you know, we have a decent look at those posters and they can discreetly look at them, you know, in their own time during lessons or as they leave the classroom. So yeah, it's really good having that info constantly there.
Megan, it's really good. I'm really pleased to hear that you've got some posters. That's fantastic.
Yeah, thanks. They're great.
And there's a request already, can we get some new posters? Mine are a bit raggedy. I'm sure there's a few that are like that. And we talked about that, I think, Lorna, about getting some collateral so that our educators can have them in the mobile classrooms.
Yeah, and so it'd be really great to understand what else would be useful along with posters. You know, if there's something in particular that would be useful for teachers, and then if you're leaving resources.
Business cards are good.
Those wallet cards. Yeah.
Yeah. They're great because you just give them out, and you know, if the teachers want to, they can say, oh, can we have a bundle for our class or to put in a communal area. And I'll take my kids line one down now.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day.
And so if you're leaving say resources for the kids, I think Tracy mentioned that sometimes you have a pack for them to take home and activities to do with family. If there's something in particular that would be more engaging for us to give for the kids, like to make WhatsUp more memorable, or something practical that they might use that's got the brand on it, that might sort of make it stay in their mind a bit longer. It'd be great to understand that, because Deepinder is here. She's our marketing manager, and so she'll be able to magic up anything you ask for, hopefully.
I love those people in the organisation. Thanks in advance, Deepinder.
So we do have some new posters coming up, and we have already ordered more wallet cards and some stickers as well for the kids. So that's what's in pipeline. But if you know that anything else works better for the kids, like they interact better, we are happy to develop those as well.
You know how 1737 have their little lapel badges, something like that maybe could be quite helpful.
Yes. Yes, we can definitely look into doing that in the next financial year. Yeah, yes, that would be a good idea.
Hey Cindy, good point. Talks about perhaps a short video of someone calling 0800 WhatsUp for us to show in the appropriate AV. Thank you. We will take that down.
Yeah, actually, sometimes we do have, because we have social workers in schools as well, and what the social worker will arrange is they'll just sort of ring in a bit earlier and talk to the supervisor and just say, look, I'd like to ring in with a group of young people or with a class, and put you on speakerphone, and we want to be able to ask some questions. And it's a really lovely way of introducing young people to the service, and to just to take that, you know, that feeling a bit scared about contacting people that you don't know, and it's been really successful, and we would be more than happy to do that for Life Education Trust as well. If ever you wanted to bring with a group of young people, just let us know, and we'll do it for it. Yeah, set it up.
Fantastic. Hey, there was a good question that I know a few of us would like answered. Is there a chance for callers to talk, for example, in Te Reo Māori on a call?
Not at the moment. No, I'm sorry.
it's okay. We understand why. There's huge, I mean, there's a shortage for a start of fluent speakers able to be parts of these initiatives, and yeah.
Yeah, and we'd also have to have a supervisor that was fluent as well, because our supervisors, because of the age group that we're talking about, who, you know, they're particularly vulnerable, our supervisors can go in and out of calls or in and out of chats real time without the counsellor knowing, and it's just a safeguard, you know. They can message them immediately, and if they're not sure what's going on in the call or what's going on in the chat, and make suggestions. And so, yeah, it would be, it's certainly something that we would love to be able to offer, but at the moment, it's not on the horizon.
Yeah.
Leslie, there was one more question here that you'll be able to answer. It's around what happens to young people when they turn 19 and they're sort of, or if they're 19 when they call for the first time.
Yeah. It can be really difficult for our counsellors and the young person involved. So especially if they've been talking to us for a number of years, and we start the transition process a good 9 months before, if they have been a regular caller, and what we try and do is introduce them to another service. We're a member of the Helpline Collaboration Group, which got together at the end of last year and started talking about how we can all work together better, and Youthline is a part of that group. So we are in discussions with Youthline as to how we can transition. We also know transition our older chatters and callers to them, and we also know that they do sometimes also get quite young callers, and there again, how to maybe pass them on to us. With a young person who's ringing us, who's only rang us on or actually, and even for an adult, if we have a 19-year-old or an adult that rings us in crisis, we take that call, and we support them through that call. We just make it clear at the end that we're really sorry that they won't be able to ring us back, but there's another service for them. We do have we've been here for 20 years now, so some of our original callers are in their 30s. They've got children of their own, and they do still choose to ring us, you know, and they just want to check. They just like to know that we're still here. And sometimes they're putting their children introducing their children to our service as well. So, yeah.
I'm guessing too, Leslie, that the real age, I mean, I'm not sure how you find out exactly how old people are. It doesn't really matter if it was a 4-year-old or a 20-year-old. I mean, you're still going to answer the call.
Absolutely. We don't, we've never blocked a phone number. We don't see the point in that. We just really try to manage those callers who might be, if they tell us that they're 18 and we think and we believe that they're older, we're not going to argue with them. We're still going to give them that call. We do have tricks, though. You know, we can ask them what year at school they're in, and if they say something like Form 1, well, we all know that they're an adult. So there are some things like that we can do. It's a little bit harder with online chat, but it's probably also about the language that they're using. So we do get a fair idea. And we do just try and encourage them, if we really do believe that they're an adult, we try to encourage them to use other services.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just conscious of time, and I did promise at the start that we wouldn't necessarily go through till 5:30, so I feel this obligation now to make sure we're wrapped up. Just to let everyone know that we have connected Elodie, who's the in the marketing team, I think with you there, Deepinder, with our Lisa. So the discussions and suggestions about resources, posters, stickers, that sort of thing, we can certainly pick up on that at National Office. and work through how to get those out to you all. But any last minute questions or thoughts to drop in?
There was one question we haven't answered, but I can, I've written it down so I can answer that and send it through with the PowerPoint. If you...
Lovely. Okay, last call. Last call before the bar closes. Maria.
I just wanted to say thank you, and you do a wonderful job.
Oh, thank you, Maria. Look,
thank you so much.
Look, thank you so much for giving us this time to talk to you.
Yeah, very valuable.
And I would like to just say that actually WhatsUp, we have worked with Life Education Trust before, sort of probably 12, 13 years ago. So we have actually got a history with you guys. Yeah.
And the cycle comes around, and sometimes through no one's purposeful actions, things just drop off and other things come onto the radar. So I'm pleased that we're connected again. And
I'm more than happy to do as many of these as you need. If you want to do another one, I'm more than happy to jump on and talk to any of you. If you've got any questions, if you want to know about our statistics, just let us know.
Lovely. The great thing is we've recorded this, so for the educators that couldn't make it, they'll be encouraged to drop in and have a listen. And thanks to our 16 that did make it, 16-ish today, who made it. I know it comes at the end of a long, busy day of often lots of travel for you all. So wonderful. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Have a nice evening.
Yeah.
Right.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Ka kite.
Ka kite.